Awesome.
Everybody good?
Good.
We're all here?
Yeah. Present.
Present.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start then. Let's start by welcoming listeners and who knows, boys, maybe even viewers back into the not shed, into the actual homes of the shed dogs. KJ is in the shed though, so we retain at least that part of our authenticity. The other parts, we're just in normal sort of urban dwellings. We're not those guys, really, you could argue. Yeah, big wave to the camera. We should introduce ourselves, I should say, to our listeners, because many listeners will be wondering which of these devilishly handsome fellows is which. So start, boys.
Well, I'm RJ, and I'm just going to comment for our watchers, the people who watch this on YouTube. I'm going to move my glasses so the ear things are really up high and looking dorky. And that's just to keep the reflection off the glass, just for you, special for you guys.
So it's not because you have Republican sentiments, because I think that's how they all wear their glasses. Is that
what they do?
No, I made that up out of whole cloth because I thought it would annoy you.
And okay. I'm KJ in the shed. Hello out there in viewerland.
KJ in the shed, attaboy, and I'm PJ. I'm PJ in the basement apartment, the luxury basement apartment, let me just say. Luxury, not luxury, luxury.
And KJ, you're looking awesome with the your hair, with the sunlight coming through your hair. It makes for a nice little corona. And I don't mean that's not a play on our current situation in any way.
It sure is.
It looks very nice.
Skin, I think you should call your place garden level, not a basement suite.
Oh, I could do that. Garden level suite is a nice option.
Yeah. Also, Skin, I see that you rented an expensive bike just for the podcast.
Yeah.
Hung it up behind you just for the set.
Yeah, in our last episode, I mentioned that I had guys in, lighting specialists, to improve my video presence. I had set dressers come as well. All this stuff that you see in behind me, it's available for rent. I hardly had to buy any of it. I've mostly just rented it from warehouses across town that stock sets. And this is my, late middle-aged guy set. It's supposed to look like I'm this guy. Of course, I'm not. Of course, my place that I really live in, it's all white with mainly stainless steel. Very, very minimal. Speakers are all recessed. Everything is stainless. That's my real place. But I made this place look all cluttered with crap. More like a late middle-aged normal guy.
For me, I'm in my office, and behind you can see a little bit of my lifestyle. You see a set of drawers up here. Oh, right there. These drawers, each carefully labeled. In the bottom, we have our USB cables. Next drawer up is audio, and so forth.
And I can vouch. Just take it from me. It's endless. He could go on for probably, I'm going to say, about an hour and 15 minutes listing the drawers, their contents, and their location.
Up here, you got our Make America Great Again hats.
Boy, RJ.
And just for our listeners, I'm going to show you how we have been stockpiling all our cleaning products.
Oh, man.
Oh, nice.
There's all the cleaning products on top of the laundry. We've carefully stockpiled.
We've just really upped the ante on a commitment to get this stuff onto YouTube now, because the listeners, guys who have been happy with just the audio experience, are now feeling very shortchanged. We better make sure that we get this stuff up as video, because that was pretty awesome. There was a door there, 30 or 40 people that see that, the 30 or 40, are all going to think, where did he get that stuff? Did he start stockpiling last summer before we even had a clue? I don't know what's going on.
Yes, I did comment to one of our household members about the surprising array of cleaning products we had, and she assured me that each one had a purpose. She said, you don't use glass cleaner for your carpets, for example.
Well, and that actually answers a question that I had, because I, as everyone who's listening or viewing knows, there's a real shortage of disinfectant agents in stores right now because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I walked into Costco the other day in a vain search for white rice. But one thing I have noticed the last couple of times I've been into Costco is they're really pushing Lysol toilet bowl cleaner. And I was kind of wondering if people are purchasing that in large quantities because they just can't get a hold of, disinfectant wipes and everything. Are people just spraying toilet bowl cleaner all over everything to disinfect it or what? Anybody hear anything about any of that?
I don't know, but let me ask you two guys. In your day to day, and I guess it's not day to day anymore, but when you do need to go out and shop and get supplies of various sorts, have you had problems getting what you need?
Yeah, can't find white rice.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's always something there, but Super Value is pretty quick at getting it back on the shelves. But I noticed the last time I went, it's in the can section, like in the soup aisle, limit 6 per customer of anything in cans. Limit 6 per customer. There was, I don't think there was any toilet paper at the time, but it comes and goes. There was, things disappear. I couldn't find, there's no bleach. Dilly couldn't find bleach today either. Although we have some stuff here. But I'm not going out now that I've got a runner for my stuff. I'm going to
must be nice. Yeah,
build
must
a
be nice.
fortress. And so I'm not crazy about, I got to probably look at the groceries that Dylan just bought and just make sure I don't touch anything for the whatever time period is till, or else if I'm going to use it, I'll wash it.
So you're building the fortress of dognitude out there.
That's right.
Superman had solitude. You have dognitude. Atta boy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I tried out, many stores are implementing policies around giving seniors exclusive access to whatever the store has. I tried it at Superstore last Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And my observations were the stock isn't improved. And there's a lot of very young and robust looking seniors mixed in there, which led me to conclude that the job of being the guy at the door who politely tells people, right now, it's limited to people 60 years and over. That must be a crappy job because a lot of people clearly ignored that guy. They just insisted that they got to get to work or whatever it is. I think it's a great thought, but I wish that they were stocking the store and then letting seniors get in there first, and then letting everybody else clean it out in the next 5 minutes after 8 o'clock. But oh well.
Yeah, we have London Drugs has reduced their hours in our neighborhood, and actually in many neighborhoods, and they actually have special time periods for healthcare workers, which I think is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And
so I mean,
shutting down the liquor stores on Sunday. all Sunday openings are done now. And
really?
Curbing the hours.
Yep.
I think it's just to give people a day off, right?
Yeah, because I think there's a real chronic problem with people just not showing up. They're just, especially guys in retail and stuff like that, they just are deciding, you know what, $15 an hour is not worth it. I'm just not going to go. I don't care I don't care anything. I think there's sort of a problem with that.
And in the liquor stores too, they're putting up vinyl shields, transparent, big barriers between the customers in all the BC liquor stores. So I bet that'll be going on the Sunday being closed. They're going to try to get as many of those things, like full plate glass, plexiglass, right? Like
I think that's great.
6 feet high, 6 feet wide.
So what is it between? Is it between you and the cashier, or you and the stock, or what is it?
You and the cashier, and so you will probably. They might say, okay, put it down, and then they'll approach it and do the little clicker on it, bloop bloop, get the bars, and they don't touch the product though.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, as where you present your card and they scan it, or you present the product even and they scan it, so they don't have to touch a surface that you touched. Yeah. It's interesting the kind of ingenuity that's going into some of that stuff.
Well, when I went to Safeway, which is now 5 or 6 days ago, you had the lines where you had to stand 6 feet apart to start, and I said, going in, I saw that the there's no more personal bags. Don't use personal bags. They'll
Yeah.
the bags for free. So I said to her as I'm approaching, I said, can I use my bags if you don't touch them? And she said, yes, but you can't put them on this counter. They had a counter at the end where you put your bag, but she did scan all the items and touch them. But after every time somebody went through, she wipes her gloves, she wipes the counter, right? After every person that goes through. So they're a little bit.
Yeah.
That's great. It's good to see.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I did see that thing about the bags, and I made a very witty remark to the cashier about, oh, good, finally, an upside. I forgot the bags again. Guilt is relieved because they won't take my bags. So now I don't have to feel bad about it anymore. Because I do every time I forget the stupid things. I got them right by the door, and I just forget them. I don't grab them, and I'm that guy. Can I have a bag, please? And stupid.
Anyway. We shop at Bilo, which is just a smaller neighborhood grocery, and I'm in the fortunate position of being able to go, oh, I'm just going to go out and grab a bag, and I can get out to my car and back in before they finish ringing everything in.
Yeah. I can't even remember to get them into my bag. So dumb. So dumb.
Right.
What else?
Okay, so for us, I was just going to say for us, we've only hit a few shortages where we wanted to get something, and I was just really surprised to see a run on bananas in our local store. Like, why?
I was thinking about this morning, and I tweeted out something about just at this moment, I'm very relieved that there has not been a COVID-related run on doggy poop bags. Because just think how inconvenient it would be to walk your dogs and not be able to have a bag.
Yeah.
Like, so what would you be doing?
But I don't understand bananas because you'd have to freeze them, right? And I guess maybe there's a lot of people who go, you know what? I like to make banana bread. And I'll make a lifetime supply of banana bread here, and we're going to get 15 different dishes. But like you were saying, KJ, they've since wised up, and they're putting limits on pretty well anything that there's a run on. And everyone is assuring us the supply chain is fine, and there's no reason to believe it's not. I mean, those guys need to stay in business, so I just have no worries whatsoever. You can always find what you need.
I'm only moderately concerned, and it just has to do with panic levels. But RJ, I want you to share with our listeners that line of thought that you were sharing with me the other day about toilet paper and about the hoarding of it. And the potential downstream impact to the toilet paper industry of that hoarding. I thought that was a really fun little bit of thinking there.
Yeah, it's not just the toilet paper industry. It's anything that goes in hoarding mode, or you need a huge amount and you're going to get a whole bunch. I guess masks would be similar, or any like the disinfectant cleaner stuff. What happens is the people who make this stuff, they can't really ramp up. It's just really hard. They would have to hire a bunch of new workers, probably have to pay them a lot more. That means their existing workers would also need a salary bump to be fair.
Maybe it's just equipment,
It's hard to ramp up. So you can only print so much toilet paper. And so what happens is we get our shortages. And as the crazies who think that they need a 5-year supply of toilet paper suddenly realize, I think I'm good now. And there's no new crazies because they come in waves. Then all of a sudden, these plants have to shut down, or they have to cut back because there's nobody buying toilet paper all of a sudden. The stock at the supermarket will be just completely full, and very few people are touching it because, well, so many people hoarded that they no longer need it for the next several years. So it can be really, really tough on those kind of companies and the people that work in them. So that's another good reason to not go all panicky and hoard things.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I hadn't even considered it at all, but as soon as you told it to me, I thought, oh, that makes complete sense. They're just going to fall off a demand cliff at some point, and then what? Then what? So
yeah,
that was cool.
Nobody's going to be buying it anymore. All the hoarders don't need to buy it for years.
Yeah.
And if the hoarders consist of 25% of the population, that means for the next several years, there'll be 25% fewer toilet paper rolls bought.
Yeah. And all the other things. Yeah. It's really cool bit of thinking.
It's a wonderful piece of thinking that's not my own, but I'll take credit for it.
Sure. Take credit for having the brains to at least pass it on. because I just never occurred to me, and I thought, oh, geez, I like that, because there's so much pressure to avoid economic damage, like especially in the States, as we all know and don't want to talk about because it'll just be too awful. But that's a real good message for everybody. Like, that damage can occur as a result of hoarding just as much as it can as a result of the actual pandemic, like the people getting sick or being laid off. It could be a real heavy duty echo of the illness itself. So it's kind of great. That's a public service announcement from you. I count that as a public service announcement, RJ. Do not hoard. Way to go. Way to go. Now, that aside, boys, RJ, you've just expressed great confidence in your ability to secure any kind of goods or services that you actually need. And I'm kind of more or less with you in that boat. So far, I haven't noticed anything really except the classics. But how are we feeling in general about distancing, isolating? KJ, you've mentioned that you now have your own runner. As wealthy actors, it's always the same. They get the first testing, they get people to go do their stuff for them. You're probably getting them to order skip the dishes for you too. But anyways, how are we feeling, boys?
KJ?
Isolated, threatened, how are we feeling?
I've been, my routine is to get up, have a cup of coffee, and I watch my regular news stuff first. I put on the Vancouver Sun, have a little glance through that. Then I go to HuffPost Canada. Then I go to HuffPost United States. And sometimes it's not the right way to start your day, I'm finding.
Agreed.
That Jesus Christies. And then, of course, I like to watch the American news at night. And that's just another heaping helping of dismalness. And it kind of makes you feel, well, it makes me feel... I guess almost useless. Like, you kind of go, well, I guess we sit here and we do the best we can and we just see how it plays out. But the trouble is that it's just getting awfuler and awfuler in most places around us. Touch wood, BC is on the right track and Canada is on the right track, but it's a little bit depressing, I have to say.
Yep. RJ?
Well, for me, of course, I have an upbeat view of it.
Oh my God. Did we just have snacks? Because I don't want to have to vomit. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing to note is that I'm already socially isolated in my whole life anyway. So
You should see me.
I mean, we were missing out on the shed sessions. That's a big deal for me. And the fact that we can do this remote is awesome.
Yeah. Agreed.
Lately, I've had a few health problems that I'm not supposed to be super, super active. So I'm not, Sue and I went out for a nice walk yesterday. And I know, PJ, that you've been out for quite a bit of exercise. And I think that's one of the things that's missed in the press quite often. You sometimes get these people that speak in shorthand. They say, people, do not go out, because it's just too hard to provide that nuance that people don't go out and get within 6 feet of other people. Stay 2 meters apart. Actually, going out's probably a good thing for you. It can be quite healthy as long as you're being careful to stay 2 meters apart from other people, which I think social distancing is kind of a funny piece of jargon, but we all kind of know what that means now.
Yeah.
So yeah, unless you're on quarantine. If you're on quarantine, then don't go out, because there's reasons to keep that limited. But yeah, go out and get some activity. So anyway, we've done that. I'm kind of upbeat because I've done the math. I've looked at death rates per capita. The death rate per capita in Italy is still miles below the death rate per capita in Italy during their big flu seasons of 3 years in a row, 2014 to 2017. The numbers are like a factor of about 40. So even in Italy, the worst hit place, they're about 1/40th of a bad flu season in terms of deaths. That's as of March 20th, and I could see them continue, like they are starting to curve down a bit. We could see them continue to get up to maybe this, excuse me, maybe the size of a flu pandemic or their worst flu season. But that's not to belittle the whole thing. Coronavirus is far more devastating than the flu per infected person.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about whether, just to clarify, the death rate per infection, or just the overall raw numbers.
Yeah, I'm using raw numbers, and there's a reason for that. But that said, yeah, absolutely, we need to do this social distancing. We need to flatten that curve. Otherwise, the healthcare system gets overwhelmed with the number of cases. So we all get that. But that said, in terms of your own mental state and where are we screwed? Yeah, things are going to get pretty bad in the U.S. But still, even for the U.S., it'll probably hit the number of deaths of a normal flu season. So as long as we follow the practices.
The trouble is, though, is that they're all coming at once, and it overwhelms the system, right?
Absolutely. Right. You're right. We do have to flatten the curve. Hey, I see that your studio's got a little bit of a backup noise there, PJ.
Yeah, I think Kaylee's having an online cooking session with a friend, and I guess we're going to have some cross noise here. She's doing this with somebody in Montreal who's 3 hours ahead. Now, I can't remember where we were. We were just talking about, how we were feeling, and you're saying that you're basically socially distant anyways, so who cares?
To some extent. And I'm getting to watch lots of TV. We're we can, and in fact, I wanted, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to make you choose for your recommendations for our listeners. Only two. You can only select two. They could be Netflix, any kind of a series that you can highly recommend to our listeners for binging.
I can go on that. Vikings. And on Netflix. And probably I would just stick with Crash Landing on You. For those of you who don't want to see people beheaded and disemboweled and torn to pieces by wild dogs like you'll see in Vikings, you can go instead for the really sappy, romantic, soft music playing and endless long shots of people staring into each other's eyes. In K-drama, Crash Landing on You.
It's called Crash Landing on You?
Yep.
And it is a K-drama?
It sure is. It's 1,000% K-drama. It's K-drama all day, every day.
And you don't want to really say anything about Vikings other than it's super violent? Like, what do you like about it?
It's super violent.
That's what you like about it. All right. KJ, what do you got?
I got nothing. I just actually signed up for Crave because I saw that it was free until the end of April. But I think you always get your first month free anyway, right? But then, of course, I realized I don't have Crave on any of the TVs. I can get it on my computer, but you have to sign up with the TELUS package to include Crave, which is its own separate site. It's a whole different package that bumps you up to $75 extra.
Oh wow!
So did you, KJ? Did you get Crave plus HBO, or is it strictly Crave without the HBO stuff?
Just Crave on its own. Crave.ca, and I'm not even sure why. It's because I'm getting bored with Netflix, and I don't have anything to recommend. All I do is watch Korean stuff. I look around. Somebody suggested if you liked Parasite, that on Netflix there's a Korean movie, 2018, and I think it's called Burning or something like that. And somebody said that is if you like Parasite, you'll like this just as much. It's a kind of a thriller, something or other. Anyway, there's that I can throw out there. But other than that, no, I'm in a search myself for the ultimate binge.
Okay. Well, I'll just give one recommendation. First, I'll give a genre recommendation. In general, if you haven't experimented with British police shows or British dramas, they can be just amazing, like high quality and small number of episodes. So you're not making a 13 episode investment. Some of them are as small as only 3 episodes. Sue's watching one like that right now. So I'll just recommend one out of that genre that I've just started. So I've only seen one episode so far, but Broadchurch.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, Broadchurch. Broadchurch. It's a beautiful coastal town in the UK somewhere with a great big cliff down to the ocean beach. And somebody apparently is pushed or jumps off it. That's the beginning. And we have our mystery. A couple of great actors that you've probably seen before. I think it's Olivia, somebody, British actress. Sorry. Can't recall. I'm going to cheat now and just call it up.
While you're doing that, I'll just interject. There's a whole raft of those kind of detective-y things from Scandinavian countries that I also enjoy very, very well.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different flavor in terms of the tone, but it's the same kind of thing. They're short series. They're kind of quirky. The characters are not what you would expect, really. And the situations, because they're in foreign countries and cultures, it's just fun to see the factors that go into solving and motivating the crimes. It's just fun.
Absolutely. It's Olivia Colman. That was the name I was grasping for.
Never heard of her.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah. Like
You'd recognize her though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you would. And I think I've heard of her only because I've watched several of these British series. And David Tennant is another guy. If you told me David Tennant, I'd go, I don't know. But when you see his face, you go, oh, okay, I've seen that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a known guy. He's a big heartthrob guy, isn't he? I think he is. I think he's a sort of a international heartthrob guy.
Yeah, but anyway, fun series to watch.
We just leave that. We leave David Tennant's heartthrob capacities alone.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I mean, in Broadchurch, he doesn't seem like a heartthrob type, but so I just don't recall him.
That's the whole appeal, RJ. That's oh my God. Can't believe you don't know that. Anyway, I'm just teasing you. That's good. That's good. I think those are important for us to keep pushing out there.
Suggest sex education too, if people have, but I think we've already talked about that, right?
Oh, we beat sex education to death, I think. And
unfortunately, we're going to have to beat it some more. KJ, have you watched season 1?
Attaboy.
Yes, well, all of it.
Oh, and season 2 as well?
Yes.
Oh, great. Because the last time we talked about it, I think you hadn't seen it yet, maybe?
Maybe I'd started. I was quite excited about it, but yeah.
So KJ, final episode of season 2?
Yeah.
Makes it all worthwhile, eh?
I don't think I realized it was the end, or maybe I was hoping for a season 3 or something. I really didn't want it to end.
I think, isn't there going to be a season 3? I sure hope so.
I think so, but the kid's pretty young. He's gonna grow up a little bit too far, isn't he?
Oh, if they leave. Well, it's kind of like Harry Potter was like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
it's great. They'll adjust somehow, I'm sure.
It's typically a very good sign when you don't want it to end. I want to just ask if you don't want it to end because there was a bunch of plot elements unresolved or just because it was so enjoyable. You weren't dissatisfied with the plot resolutions, just enjoyed the whole thing so well.
Yeah. No, I think they tie things up fairly well. It's just everything's so interesting. The writing, the characters, the acting, it's all incredible.
Yeah.
That's about as good as a review can get, where you're just sorry it's over, even though you have no complaint at all about the way it ended. That's about as good as it gets.
And that's Netflix, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's our current recommendations for you.
And my Twitter experience has gone up. And as we were talking about earlier, probably to my detriment, although not universally to my detriment. I'm getting better at just not reading some stuff, but I do run across information that I'm better off without. Usually it's political, and so I'm trying to screen that more. But these kind of recommendations, pure entertainment, pure pleasure, can't go wrong. Just can't go wrong.
PJ, I believe that you have a brilliant money-making plan around automobile manufacturing.
Oh, I sure do. Glad you reminded me about that.
We need some theme music for your money-making plans, because they come along about every 2 episodes or so.
My idiotic. Well, this one was basically, as everyone is fully 100% aware because they're involved in every detail of my life, I spent a lot of time at a car dealership in the last year and a half. And one of the things I've learned is that having a new car is an expensive proposition. Aside from purchase and in spite of warranty, new cars cost a lot because stuff has to get fixed and they're complicated. The drive that I perceive in manufacturing strategy now is to make your car less and less and less available for repair by the do-it-yourself repair guy. There's very, very few things in cars these days that you don't have to go get somebody to fix. And the consequence of trying it yourself is potentially from bad to disastrous. Like if you screw up some of those sensors, you can do it bad enough your car just won't start. It'll just ignore every request you make of it to please, could you take me to the grocery store to get the last bag of white rice? So my thought was, if it's true that automobile manufacturers have universally adopted a strategy of making their profit on after-sale maintenance, which I believe they have, starting with Toyota in the 80s, then I think it's time to go back to the original Volkswagen people's car concept, only make the car. So the original concept was this car is going to be cheap to buy, easy to maintain, very reliable, economic to run, like won't burn much gas. I would think it's time to go back to that concept, except charge an exorbitant amount for the car up front. Take all the profit or most of the profit that you were hoping to experience in maintenance and apply it to the purchase price of the car, and then sell it to people. Make the car dead simple. Of course, it has to be legal from a safety and emissions standard, but make it really, really simple and sell it on the basis of pay me now or pay me later. So you've got control, right? So you buy the car, you paid a lot, but you know that what you really paid for is not having to go back to the damn dealer 5 times a year and fork out several $100s every time, in spite of the fact that you're going there for either maintenance or recall work. So there you go.
And this is because the car is simple.
The car is what?
The car is simple enough originally that it doesn't need the maintenance, or the maintenance is free after this exorbitant purchasing price?
It is because the car is simple enough for those who are interested to do the maintenance themselves. And because that maintenance is simple, it means that you can also bring it to your neighborhood mechanic and they can repair it quickly and easily. In other words, much less expensive to do maintenance on. It's just
right.
reverse. Just go back to the old model that said, we want cars that are reliable, cheap, easy to run. They used to go for cheap to sell, and I'm saying you could bump up the sale price quite a bit if you promised people a far reduced maintenance and ownership cost. So normally for these brilliant gems of surefire money-making preciousness, I go for a 10% after development return. For this idea, because I understand that developing a whole new car requires an awful lot of capital and entails significant risk, only 5%. So those of you who take this idea and develop the next people's car and make zillions of dollars, 5%, that's all I'm going to come to you for. I think it's a steal.
I think it's very reasonable.
I believe so too. Well done, Skin.
So yeah, so I like the idea. I think maybe for my preference would be that it would be an electric vehicle.
Well, yeah, that's probably what it actually will be. Not because I thought of it, because that's where we're going. And I think electric vehicles have that property.
Yeah, I think
expensive up front and cheap to maintain.
That's right. It would have to be a special kind of electric vehicle because, like, Teslas and whatnot have a huge amount of computerization in them.
Yeah.
So maybe it would be more like a Volkswagen thing where it's up to you to figure out how many. Well, I guess it would have an estimate of the number of kilometers or miles remaining, but it's going to not have a whole bunch of self-driving features.
No, it's not going to have any of that.
It's not going to have an automatic, the doors open as you walk up.
Lane assist crap.
No remote starters. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And maybe the price would not be quite as high as you thought, because maybe a lot of that computerized stuff actually bumps the price up.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I would defend a gas-powered choice based on current gas prices, also based on a lack of infrastructure for electronic cars right now, or electric cars. Like I actually rent a garden suite, not a basement suite. Garden suite.
Mm.
Transition City. and I park in the street, which makes charging problematic for an electric car. I really can't own an electric car in this situation. So for a guy like me, a cheapo gas-powered car would be awesome. And, you know, another flaw in this whole proposition is the idea that you can just take it to Bob around the corner and he'll fix it and it won't cost you so much. I think that's a bit iffy. Like, of course, I thought this all up from my own perspective. I could and would do most of the work myself. But for lots of people, that's just a non-starter. There's a lot of people who are not going to touch anything on their car. So this thing better be reliable, basically.
5%, you're
That's what
sticking
that
to
one
it?
was about. 5%. 5%. And I'll cap it at $500 million. So once I've received $500 million as my 5%, I'll stop taking anymore.
That's enough.
Now we're going to step into the anachronistic time zone here. We're going to once again talk about stuff that happened way too long ago, but is still fun to talk about, I think. So KJ, do you still have an interest in going over the Super Time halftime show, or the Super Bowl halftime show?
Super Time.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
And I think the Oscars, I did. The Oscars was on that list too, but it seems like it's all gone out of my head now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all I recall from it was J-Lo and Shakira.
Yeah.
Both doing their best. Both, if I may say so, hyper-sexualized performances. In the sense that they're, doing the standard reaching for body parts. It's kind of common in dancing these days, and, lots of suggestive lyrics and stuff, which from my perspective, I don't really care that much about one way or another. But there have been some people, if you think about it, who watches the Super Bowl, a broad range of people, certainly some people from the left wing. I would suggest a bigger proportion of people from the right wing. Football has a big history in the U.S. South, and the more conservative the region, the bigger the support. I'm just guessing. A lot of people pretty upset about those performances, and I don't know. I can support them being upset. Okay. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, if you're into that kind of music, they put a big show on. I thought they did a pretty good job if you're really into that kind of music.
Okay.
That's my tepid response.
Yeah, if you're into that sort of thing. But hey, listen, I want to I've just noticed this on the list, and I'm dying to have it. It's COVID related, but I saw it, and for our demographic, it should work. It was a bit of COVID humor, and it had no explanation, no anything, this tweet. It just came out, and I don't know how many of you are very familiar with the Beauty and the Beast soundtrack. No? There's a song on there called Gaston.
Mm-hmm.
No one fights like Gaston. Somebody posted just randomly, and they did it this way too, and it goes, no one cleans like Gaston, quarantines like Gaston, no one stopped spreading COVID-19 like Gaston. And that was it. And you just sort of think, what was that about? It just made me laugh out loud because it was apropos of nothing. In the middle of a long bunch of whatever's on Twitter, there was that thing, and I just thought it made me laugh out loud. Just somebody making up COVID-related lyrics for a Disney song and posting that just for the hell of it.
So I got one from here about 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half. I had about a 10-minute time when I was doing some dry coughing for whatever reason. So I'm going, okay, looking at my list of COVID-19, I better check for a fever, right? So it's been so long since I've used a thermometer. I had to go find it, and I got 2 thermometers. One of them is the electronic style, which I would call modern, except for it's the style that we used when the kids were born back in the 90s.
Right.
And one of them was mercury. So I did the electronic one. I had to end up getting the instructions because I didn't remember that it has to beep 3 times before it's finished.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I tried, we actually have an old mercury thermometer. Remember those?
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
vaguely.
I mean, this
I
is what...
haven't seen one since it.
Yeah, it's what tells me it's mercury, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I Googled it, and basically You have to hold them horizontally, usually, and then you turn them slowly until suddenly you can see
Yeah.
that band of mercury.
Yeah.
And what I've read is that if the band is red in color, then no, it's not mercury.
That's
But
iodine.
yeah, iodine. And if the band is silver in color, then yes, you have a mercury
Yeah.
thermometer.
Yeah.
So this one is silver in color. And it turns out that I had a temperature well above the level of dying, so it was 50 degrees Celsius. So
Really?
yeah, so I'm going, okay, well, this is not good, right? And then so I do the other one, and this time I do it properly to the 3 beeps. And for reasons that are kind of boring to relate, I did it in Fahrenheit. And so guess what my temperature was in Fahrenheit
On the digital one?
on the digital one?
98.6.
98.6, precisely, which I thought was just amazing because we all, as we grew up, we were on the Fahrenheit system, and that everybody kind of knew 98.6, whereas I've never been able to memorize the Celsius number, but 98.6 precisely. So I went back after
What is
15 minutes.
Celsius? It's like 35, 36 or something.
No,
Yeah,
it's 36.7, I think, in Celsius. I think.
Okay, yeah.
I
So
could be
anyway,
wrong.
I went back to the mercury one, and it was still at 40, like it's stuck. Like this mercury one's probably like 40 or 50 years old, and it's done. So
Does mercury dry up?
Mercury on the shake. You know how the doctors used to shake it?
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god, I've kept it,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you why I've kept it. But yes, I'm going to go out now. I'm going to grab it again, and I'm going to do it a shake, and maybe that will fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I thought, well, I got to dispose of it. Now this is mercury. You don't just throw it in the garbage. Those days are gone, right? So we go down to our local recycling depot in Burnaby. It's called the Eco Center. There's only one in all of Burnaby. We show up there. He says, mercury thermometer? You can't leave it here. Call the Eco hotline. I'm going, really? I came down here because I thought you'd know. For surely you would know, right? But actually, there are very few mercury thermometers left anymore. It's a definitely an anachronism. So I call the Burnaby hotline. They go, yeah, we don't take them anywhere in Burnaby. But you could try, and they gave me a business name down in Richmond. So I call that business, and they go, oh yeah, we can take them. Yeah, and these are our hours. You bring it down, and the fee is $50. So
$50?
Yeah, so in order to throw out our thermometer, it's $50. And they said, well, Langley has once every year, Langley has a no charge, just bring whatever you got, just the most awful, repugnant, toxic stuff, bring it down, no charge. So she said you could wait for one of those. But now that KJ has told me that I can shake the thermometer, I'm quite encouraged. Now I think we can keep this baby going for another couple decades.
Well, and
We
if
sure as hell
not,
may as well.
it's a
ridiculous.
collector's item now, right?
It's
Put it
true.
on eBay.
For $50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, geez, you think about the number of houses that have those round thermostats for the thermos, and they have a mercury switch in them. And the amount of mercury in those switches is far in excess of whatever's in a thermometer. Like in
Yeah.
that thermometer, the volume of mercury in there is about like 1/10 of a gram or something. Those switches on those household thermometers, it's like half a teaspoonful of mercury in those things.
And you can bet
I wonder how many of those are.
went into the garbage when people were remodeling, right?
Yes. Or
Yeah.
when people,
How many of those got carefully?
yeah, when they're tearing down a house, I'm sure that the regulations now require them to go in and retrieve all that kind of stuff, but that nobody does that.
Yeah, nobody's policing it. Nobody anything.
Anyway,
Jeez.
we're
Well,
gonna
that's
follow.
interesting.
We're following the rules here in the RJ household.
Attaboy. Boy, I'm with Moby though. I would regard it as a collector's item. There's just no way on earth I would pay $50 for somebody who's probably like, you get to ask yourself questions about what is the processing that company in Richmond goes through to safely dispose of that mercury that justifies a $50 fee. Like they just throw it in a big bin and it gets shipped to somewhere, like, I don't know. Again, this is my
Yeah.
latent negativity bubbling to the surface again.
Yes.
But I just think, come on. Come on.
I think we did do a follow-up on the plastic recycling, and we did find that they put in a good effort. And I would expect that they do with mercury as well.
This is me taking deep cleansing breaths to relieve myself of the need to try to defend my negative plastics stance. I'm going for relentlessly positive. I think I've covered that. I'm trying to radiate love, even when I don't really feel it.
I think they break the little thermometer and they pour it into their little vat of mercury that they're saving for whatever they make, right? They must use it, and I don't think they're sending it anywhere if they said there's a business in Richmond that deals with that.
I think you're right. Who knows? I think you're right, because mercury liquid is probably pretty well 100% pure.
Yeah, and they must still use it for something.
Oh, for lots of things, yeah.
I don't know. 50 seems like, actually, we would strongly prefer you not bring your stupid thermometer to us. Like that's what it seems like.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't say it's $20, and then when I get there, they go, "Oh, it's the $30 facility fee."
Yeah, yeah. That's more like, now you're starting to get it, RJ. You're catching on.
Just like, speaking of Ticketmaster, the ticket agencies must be taking a real hard hit right now, huh?
I hope so. I mean, yeah, they probably are.
I have received 5 concert cancellations since this whole thing started, and we have a few more out in the future. And the first one came with, sorry that your show is canceled and expect a refund shortly. The next 3 were, sorry your show is canceled and look for more news on the rescheduling, because there's some money flows around, and it isn't that Ticketmaster sits on everything. I think there's money that shifts hands all the time, and then suddenly they all say go back to your point of purchase for your refund. So you got to go back to Ticketmaster now, and then Ticketmaster's going, hey, you guys got the funds? And the promoters are going, let me get back to you. I'm going to call the artist. I finally sent 3 emails to TicketWeb. They were the ones that gave me the next 3 saying, oh, please refund this. And, because quite honestly, I understand actually there are lots of people being caught in this, but we're being caught in it as well. So I'm not shy to ask for my money back. Yeah. Another one was a local folk society. I was going to see some Irish folk music. Speaking of talking about that earlier.
Some of that inauthentic music, you mean?
Yeah. It's all inauthentic, except for the Cro-Magnons.
I just really want listener mail on that. But anyway, amazing band called Altan, Altan, played at the Bill Clinton White House. They're a lot like the first time you hear it, you go, I've heard this before. It's Irish folk music. It's the classic stuff. Lots of fiddles, beautiful voices. Like, anyways, I was so looking forward to that. They sent me a nice note saying, here's 4 options because we're struggling. Like it's probably a nonprofit. And it's like, can you just keep it on account and in the future you can use it? Or can you donate it? Because we really are having problems staying afloat. So I feel bad. I mean, that's just one microcosm. It's everywhere.
All the businesses. And it's us too. It's the individuals. We're thinking about our future now. Like, how is it going to go for the rest of our lives? Is the stock market going to get back up to where it was before? And I actually think it will, but how long will that take?
Yeah. And what spends will we need to make at a terrible loss in the meantime? I had a similar sort of note from the Cascade Bicycle Club. I joined or became affiliated with them in 2009, and they continue to email me with all their stuff. But this one was, we're getting ready to go under because we had to cancel all the rides we normally do. And that's where the revenue to keep this whole thing coming from. Help us. I had a similar thing from Peak Tours. Shout out to Peak Tours in England. They were our Portugal trip in the fall. And they said, don't worry, we're hanging on. We've got your deposit. We'll give it back to you, or you can schedule again for next year. But you start thinking about how many people must have already canceled. And I mean, honestly, that thing's scheduled for October. riding a bike in Portugal might be a thing in October, but securing flights and other accommodations in advance of that, like now, there's just no way on earth I'd be booking a flight to anywhere right now. And I expect it'll be probably July or August before I would even consider it. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm loath to book flights very close to a departure date. I just don't like doing it. And all of that, the same thing. You book a flight, then it has 3 legs, and you cancel. Who has to talk to whom about retrieving what money to be returned to who? Like, I just can't even imagine the complexity of backing all that crap out. And at the volumes they must be backing it to. So,
Why
yeah,
is it? Why is it that you don't? Are you saying in the context of COVID-19 you don't like
yeah,
booking just before a flight?
yeah, just generally anything. I've long habit has made me believe that tickets are generally, unless you buy them the day of, those kind of high risk
Oh,
tickets,
yes.
they're more expensive as you get closer to the date. And then, yeah, in this climate of uncertainty, I just think, I just don't know what is a really safe bet in terms of booking a flight. I don't even know who's going to still be in business in August,
Yeah.
in spite of the billions and billions that everybody's talking about funding those guys with.
Well, I got a gig in August, starts late August, and I got an email a week ago that said, "Hi, Kevin. As far as we know, this is still going to go forward. Like they just canceled Theater Under the Stars for the summer. I wouldn't be surprised if they canceled Bard, which is big, big. It's like millions. It's 4 million or something. But I'm really wondering, where are the audiences going to be? Are the audiences going to come back? Is anybody, if everything sort of dies down by the end of June, say mid-July, are people going to actually go to big stadiums and theaters and stuff? I think it's going to be a really slow build back.
Well, if I was channeling RJ at this moment, which believe me, that's difficult, but if I was, I'd suggest that pent up demand should mean just a surge of attention to public events, a surge of desire to go to a big thing like that. Yeah, I think there's going to be some hesitation, but if health officials like the ones we have in Canada that retain credibility, at least so far, announce one day that it is now safe to go to large public events, I think there'll be a lot of pent up demand and bigger than usual audiences, if anything.
Those two factors will kind of tug at each other, won't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
I have dogs, because there's a tasty plate of food nearby. The dogs are giving me all kinds of love right now.
It's too bad you don't have one of those like hospital-y, like reverse inverted plate that you put over the plate.
Yes, it is. It is. And
Yeah.
also, in fairness to them, they haven't been out since, I don't know what, 9:30 this morning. And that's
I think
okay.
a little saran wrap might work.
I think, I don't know for sure. I think there's a message you're trying to give me, but you're just being so indirect about it. I'm not picking it up.
Yes, I don't know. I'm looking down our list of topics, guys, and there's lots of topics, but I'm not sure. It's been a while since we made these topics up because we had to cancel our recording sessions several times for reasons mostly related to COVID-19.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch. We are also coincidentally at about an hour right now.
Oh, okay.
Since our last start. But there is quite a few things here.
Moby, is Alley Art yours?
Oh yeah, and that was the one I wanted to start the next time you guys came over, but then you didn't come over because I've had the shed doors out in the alley painted.
Oh, by
Oh,
volunteers.
Yeah, the kids in the basement. We had kids in the basement for 2 months. They came from Hamilton, and they said they got here, I think the day before the first snowfall. But they said they were coming to paint murals in Vancouver. And I thought, oh, interesting time of year to be doing that. So then they wanted to stay, but they'd already booked another Airbnb, so I had to leave. But because they liked it so much and they wanted to do something, they said, would you like a mural painted on your shed in the alley?
Wow.
And that's what I thought. So I said, sure. They have a website and they have some of their designs. And he sent me in a text. He sent me 4, and he said, pick one of these. And we picked one, or Lucy and Susan basically picked it. And they came out here. They I bought them beer, and I bought the paint, which came to about $100, and it's all spray can, right?
Yeah.
And the colors aren't very East Van, but it's certainly a statement.
Well,
Now
it's
this
funny.
this is on your garage door out in the alley?
Yeah, and I can certainly send a picture if we want to get it out.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you guys aren't going to be here for the next 2 months anyway, so maybe that's what we should do.
Oh, yeah. Do the
But
picture for the website. Absolutely.
yeah, anyway, but they were cool, and there's another girl from Hamilton who's a graffiti or a muralist, and she apparently is the flower person or the detail person, maybe is what she is. And it almost sounded like the two guys were out there painting away, and she happened up the alley, but that doesn't make sense. They must have got in contact with her, and she stopped and she played with him for about an hour, and it took them, I don't know how long it took them, 4 or 5 hours. They had a great time. It was a beautiful day. Mimi, the little Chinese lady who sort of takes care of the neighborhood, she's very busy, always asking about where's Dylan, and she said, so she was there, and so I'm trying to grill her, and I said, Mimi, I want to take a picture of you, and she was just really fun about the whole thing, but she also intrigued, right? Like, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
and I think the kids are kind of hoping you can't commit. It's hard to get. Vancouver's a hard place to paint murals. You got to there's so much city bullshit that you have to do for permits and shit. But I think they wanted to sort of start a guerrilla kind of thing where if somebody in the alley thought, oh, well, my shed is falling apart, maybe they should just come up the alley and put one on mine. I think that's what the kids were hoping for. Anyway, it was a kind of a cool experience.
I can't wait to see those.
Yeah.
Clear Eyes Collective.com, maybe? Clear Eyes Collective?
Okay. I fully did not see that coming. I just thought you were going to give us a bitter report about how you got graffitied, because that's where my head is at, bitter reports. Well, that's really cool.
And when they said they wanted to paint the mural, I said, well, I'm sort of thinking that it's like an invitation to graffiti, and they said, no, it's actually the opposite. People don't tend to, if the space is already done, people don't tend to put little tags on it and stuff. Not that there's a bit of that going on, but it hasn't happened in our alley for a long time. Anyway,
I'm having a look at it right now. It is just what you said, cleareyescollective.com, and it's awesome. And they got the people up close. It might be the same 3 people that did yours.
Josh and Adam were the guys' names. I don't know if they have names on there, but
yeah, really good. And there's a woman in there as well. So maybe she's the detail person. Yeah. And I'm looking at all mine, PJ, and like one of them's about the last draft horse, which is a Ken Lum statue, and I know how much you like Ken Lum, so I thought that was good to talk about. And in fact, I guess can I just cover that quickly?
Sure.
And the reason I want to cover it is that people can go and see it because as part of you could go out for a drive and have a look at it. But anyway, so Ken Lum is the Vancouver-based artist who we have talked about several times, who does interesting public art. Probably best known at this point for the East Van cross.
I think so.
Fair to say. Yeah. Anyway, the city of Burnaby commissioned him to put a piece of art at the corner of Edmonds and Kingsway. So if you're driving down Kingsway towards New Westminster, as you cross Edmonds, there's a little scissor-shaped piece of land there. There's a new building, and there's a horse, great big horse, sitting down. He's called the Last Draft Horse. He's bronze, kind of looking like bronze. I don't know what the real metal is. And he's done. He's the last draft horse in Burnaby. He used to pull the logs from the logged out areas in Burnaby, and the city is modernized. So he's finished, and it's a great little statue. So Sue and I actually went to the opening just for fun. And so there we were, and we don't usually go to these things, and Burnaby's kind of quaint in that, I guess we're a bit of a city, but at the same time, it's quaint in that the mayor's there and anybody who wants to can walk up and chat with him. And he's a nice guy. He's that ex-fireman that beat out the old incumbent Corrigan. Mayor Mike Hurley. I think I've got that right. Very nice guy, very effective administrator, actually, and he gives a few words. It's just really fun to watch. Ken Lum, however, didn't show up, so.
Oh, really?
Ken.
Oh, you already had the money. Like his contract
right.
didn't include public appearances, so
Yeah.
forget
Yeah.
that. I've seen pictures of the horse, and it makes me feel a bit sad. Like I'm hoping that the intent is the horse is just tired and now can relax, but it looks to me like it's collapsing. I always think, oh, it's collapsing.
Oh.
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah,
I have seen it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the way I see it is he's just hauled a log, and so they've disconnected him from the log now. And by the way, the log is there too. That's part of the sculpture.
Oh,
and
okay, that would help.
The log is like a half block away. And so it's like the horse continued on for another half block, and he's going, I'm done. And he sits down. It's up to you if you want to believe that he's so done that he's going to die. I see it as he's tired out, and he's just sitting down and taking a break. And presumably he's going to have the last couple years of his life in a pasture.
Yeah. Okay. I think go with that. That's
all right.
But really, like at this age and station, I don't need to be thinking the other way. So yeah, let's go with that.
And I'll do my pitch, my half-hearted pitch for the Museum of Vancouver at some time in the future when people can actually go to the Museum of Vancouver.
Okay. We'll half-heartedly look forward to that.
And I got...
where is that, RJ?
Where is the Museum of Vancouver?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, who knew that there was even such a thing, right?
I know.
But somewhere when we were not looking, the old... it's got a giant sculpture of a crab in front of it.
Yeah.
That's
planetarium.
The planetarium. That's it. The planetarium is no more. And I don't know, it was when nobody was looking, it became the Museum of Vancouver.
Oh.
I didn't know that either.
And so we're going, let's go to the Museum of Vancouver. And we almost headed down, and Sue happened to see a Groupon. So we got...
Groupons. Who knows what the ripple effect of Groupon has been over the years. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
I don't know. Of course, Vancouver's most famous museum would be
Anthropology.
The Museum of Anthropology. That is a high-end, world-class, as they say, museum. The Museum of Vancouver is definitely not.
Oh, really? Really?
But we enjoyed it, and we were glad we did the Groupon, though. We're thinking, okay, because the regular tickets were probably like $15 a head, maybe more, maybe $23 a head or something. And so we got two for the price of one, I think.
And then it was pretty low rent.
It was nice. I'm glad we went. And since I'm already halfway through the segment, I'll finish it off. They do have the neon art of Vancouver is one of the displays. So you get to see some old signs that you go, I know that one. Like it's the apostolic Jesus faith or something, like Jesus in big letters.
Yeah.
Here, I've got a few in the screen in front of me. We've got the Smiling Buddha.
Yeah.
Remember that place? Yeah. So that one's there. We've got the apostolic faith Jesus sign. We've got Regent Taylor's. We've got an ICBC related sign, maybe, or probably from before ICBC. It's a couple of cars crashing. And it's kind of animated.
Collision repair.
Yes. Anyway, that's pretty fun to go through. There's some old displays. And then another one, we've talked in the past on this podcast about the plans for freeways in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they have a good whole room dedicated to that. So it's really interesting. You can see maps showing exactly where the freeways are going. You can see the activists that help prevent it from happening. You can see there was going to be a freeway all the way down Main Street.
Yeah.
There's going to be the third crossing, which is the biggest bridge ever. It could be a huge bridge compared to the first and second narrows. Anyway, so it's all fun to watch. If you get the Groupon, I'd recommend it. And I'm sorry because nobody can go see it right now anyway.
Yeah, well, that's by the time we get to air. No, we're going to get to air fast.
Right.
Maybe.
Just a reminder to our listeners, this is the second of two sessions that we're doing on March 26th. The first one we are hoping will come out quickly after March 26th, and we'll see what we do with this one, whether we defer it or publish it fairly quickly as well.
So is that it, boys? Is that us? Are we cooked? Are we done? We are done. And thank you, boys. That is it for us for this week. We hope you've enjoyed this. We're dying to hear what you think of our fabulous new tech setup, all remote, all, COVID-19 sensitive. We're hoping it works. We're always dying to hear from you. Really, COVID-19 for us has just turned into an excuse to ask you to be in touch with us. That's it. The whole pandemic, that's how it's serving us. But we hope you're taking care of each other. We hope you're managing to find some fun. I know there's us, but that's only an hour. And you can probably only listen to each podcast 6 or 7 times before you're finally tired of us. So hopefully you're finding other forms of entertainment. You're keeping yourself safe. You're keeping yourself happy. We're hoping to speak to you again soon. Take care of each other. And I'm PJ saying good night, and I think the other boys will too.
See you, bye from the shed.
Good night.
That was KJ and RJ in order there. Just in case. If you happen to see a video, it's just happy times for everybody. In any case, take care of yourself. We'll see you soon. What?
I didn't wear my hat. God.
None of us wore our hats.
None of us wore our hats.
Mine's in my car where I leave it so that I'm
man.
going to the shed. I have it there. I can't forget it.
Next session, let's do it.
How could
Next
we forget?
session.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks, boys.
I'm hitting stop recording now.